I had an interesting vision this morning. So every morning, usually I'll wake up or be woken up by some kind of image, song, words, what have you. Or not really. Well, Jesse has there's Jesse. But yeah, th this morning was peculiar. Um, because it didn't quite add up to what I thought. Um, so initially, I was simply kind of relaxing as I normally do. I'll go back home. So I woke up to being in bed with Camiel. And I don't know, just for I'll clarify some of these things for Earth people. So before the well, I'm just going to talk about the Errahel. I can't speak for other races, but before the Errahel come here, because we're naturally affectionate, there's a lot of behaviors in our culture that don't translate to Earth culture. So Earth people tend to be very reserved, uptight, and nervous and fearful. And so we have to back off, basically. So we have to kind of become more reserved and not affectionate. It's interesting. I actually was talking to a lady once, and she's a hell. She's a starseed, and she was having contact with her family. And one morning she's like, "Oh, I this is again Astral, of course." And she wakes up in the morning and there's two young men, attractive, tall young men in the Astral, and she's like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting, you know." And they came in, they're all happy and smiling, and they're all like, "Hey," you know. And she was like, "Oh my God, the blonde one gets into bed with me," and she's like, "Oh," she's like, "What the heck?" And the other guy sits by the bed, and he's all smiling and like, "Yeah," you know. And she says, I just think to him, like, "Oh my God, I could be your mother." And I said, "Well, there you go." That's exact, and that was her son. So it's not unusual for something like that to be done on our planet, where a teenage adult son would cuddle and have affection with his mom. And it's zero section. And that's the thing, like on Earth, everything is hyper sexualized and perverted and deconstructed and incredibly regressive. I almost feel like it's a combination. It was a almost the abomination of a race. So there's we don't have any concept of that kind of sexuality. I don't understand it even. I never understood it. It's definitely I don't it's just because I don't get it. It's just not me. It's not anything I understand. So I was, he was sleeping. So Camiel was sleeping and I kind of woke up next to him and I'm just like, oh, like, this is at first the bed was like our bed. So our beds are very low to the ground. We don't have them up like they do here. You have them on those little the bed frame and everything. They just sit on the ground where we are. And there's no bed frame or anything like that. They're just kind of a square bed, basically, right? And the mattress and everything that we sleep on, it controls temperature and all that. So you don't have to worry about anything. We do have blankets if you want them and stuff. But yeah, but the bed was initially, I'm like, wait, this is kind of like, seems like it's our bed, but it's not. So I was like, what the heck is going on? And I start to look around and it's just like, what the heck? Um, there was now this AI didn't get it quite right, obviously. Didn't get it really right. So the bed was actually facing the windows, but there were no windows at that. The windows weren't there at that time. So you can bring the windows up when you want them and get rid of the windows when you don't want them, right? So and they were wall to, I mean, floor to ceiling windows when you want them to open up. But yeah, I'm just like Cameo was still sleeping. Cuddled up next to him, and I'm just like, this is like we know this is not our home. I look up and I see it's a, and this doesn't get it is the ship right either. There's no weird like areas like this where they show like partitions. It's all completely smooth. There's nothing like this at all. Try to tell your AI to do that. Um, it's very, very beautiful. God, it almost reminds me of ancient Greece. That kind of what you would expect from something like that is that feel. So Eeka walks in. So I'm not saying anything. I'm still laying there like, what? No. Camiel's still sleeping. Eeka walks in and he's working. So he's actually with the crew on this is a fairly big ship. And he wakes up Camiel and he's like, we're there, right? And I'm like, we're like, what the go where what? I'm just like, what is going? This is okay, we're in a ship. This is not the ship itself, and I go back to some of the video here. Not that. Let's bring this up. So the ship looked a lot like this, but it was more lentil shape. So it had pointy edges. It was smoother than this. It didn't have any like layers like you would see in this video here. It had pointy ends, but it was very, very smooth, that metallic gray, silvery metallic gray in a big ship. So I'm thinking, okay, we must have had other stops, right? Because and for some reason we it was fair, not to say a long trip, but we were sleeping. So like this is like, well, okay, this was a longer trip than I expected. But like I said, Ika was part of the crew. I was not. I was the I was with Camiel just as the passengers here. And I sensed that we were picking up passengers while we were on this trip. And the windows, we make the windows open up. You just decide you want to have some windows there. So you slide your hand and say, hey, give me some windows. So the wall opens up, and this is what I see. Something like this, kind of, AI, a very big city. So I'm like, oh, this is not home. Like, where is this city? And then Ika was like, well, we have to stop here first. So he was talking about we have to stop at it's the main diplomatic building. So this is the main city on Erra. It's a very big city. Like it's wow. It's like, and this is what we see from the ship. Something like this, looking down. He said, yeah, we have to stop here first. So the ship docks basically, and we teleport down to where the main diplomatic area is. So we're outside, and there's a man standing there, a long golden white blonde hair, masculine looking guy, tall guy. And actually the tall Cameo is pretty tall. He's probably like 6'5". He's thin, but he's quite tall. He's taller than Ika, and this guy was a little about Ika's size, and he was wearing our diplomatic, the official uniforms. They're like something. They're white, and they have belted. How much reminds me of? It's like a jacket, but it reminds me of almost the 1940s, the Italian army. You can imagine that in white, like the uniform, like some of that in white. That's what it looked like, and he was very friendly, and come on, follow me, kind of thing. So we went in, and I don't remember anything from there. But while I was standing outside, this was the first time I noticed. While we were standing outside, and Inika was talking to the guy, and so there was a bunch of us on that ship that were picked up, and now I understand what that was, and it's the envoys and other officials who were Errahel, because that was our ship. So I finally, like I said, I just finally realized, hadn't realized before, but when I was standing outside the diplomatic building, that I was in my body. I was in my real body. I'm like, I'm in my real body. I was kind of, I mean, I would say disoriented, but things felt like out of time. Like I didn't know what time, I had no idea what time was or what, anything like this. And um, and I had no memory in between waking up with Camiel and this part here. I don't remember anything from before that. So now I was like, okay, I had my consciousness moved into my body. But when this happened, I don't have, and I started thinking, now I'm like, wait a minute, where's my other body? Like, think, okay, I'm in my real body. Where's my other body? And I was thinking that I was like, what? That's like, what the heck? But then I started to feel into like the experience on Earth. I'm like, just feel my memories, looking for memories on Earth, and they really weren't there. So it feels like the trauma, the memory was all in that body because it wasn't with me anymore. And I didn't need healing because it was just like I didn't have the trauma. It was gone. I was in my real body, but I have to it was definitely a weird thing. Like I wasn't tired, but Like there was some kind of weird shift that happened. It was, and I suppose that would make sense if you can imagine, having your consciousness move to another body. There's that rift, especially when there's been so much time that passed. But of course, time is, it's yeah. I'm like that. That was the information I got, was that the trauma is in the old body. I know I have no idea where the old body is, what they did to it, if what I don't know. I didn't get that far. So I don't, only thing I remember then is we all follow this guy into the building. I don't remember anything then. And the vision ends with me back home in my house, my real house. And we're cooking. So but it's like I feel kind of like it's 500 times stronger than, when you go somewhere else for a while. Say you go on a really long vacation. I used to spend summers in Ireland and stuff. So, you leave your home, then you're in a hotel or an apartment. I used to rent an apartment there, and you're somewhere else for quite some time. And then you go back to your home. Is there's that weird and almost that jet lag. This was jet lag without the tiredness, but a mental jet lag. I'm experiencing this, and I can feel everybody around me just being like giving me space. Like, it was just kind of like they weren't pressuring me. There wasn't a lot of conversation. There was no, and people would think, well, there's going to be celebrations there. There was nothing like that. I don't think you can handle that, to be honest with you. It's not, from what this vision showed me, like you're definitely not in the party mood. I'm going to tell you that. You're in a weird limbo jet lag kind of experience, and all you really want is quiet. Like you don't, like you know where you are, but you don't know where you are. And you remember stuff, like I knew how to do the cooking. Like I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to do mundane stuff. And I didn't have the capacity to like engage in long conversations, or it was just I need to be quiet, and I need to like it's just like you just let your body guide you to what it is that you need. And everyone around you knows that too. They're like, yeah, you're not, you're just gonna keep it quiet. Like no visitors. I get that sensation. Um, so I was making something, and it's just like I knew how to do it. But it's like riding a bike again. It was kind of one of those like I know how to do this, but a complete mind fuck. I'm just gonna say that. Um, so I don't know this was this morning. I hadn't expected this because I just expected, oh, I'm gonna, I oftentimes go back and spend time back home, and yeah, I just figured I was in my bed with Cameo and we were just, having some fun, sleeping, napping, whatever. But it wasn't. And I was just like, where am I going now? Well, where? Wait a minute, right? This is not a normal morning back home. This is something different. So the song I heard when Eco woke Cameo up, because I was already up, and was Don't Dream It's Over, which this song, Crowded House, right? It's an old, they love all those old songs. This song I received, oh my God, maybe 2 years ago or so. I have no sense of time here, maybe longer, but this song was given to Linda by her husband, Will. That was several years ago. And he gave it to me first. And this is for Linda. I said, oh, okay, I'll give her the song. And, hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. So I guess they didn't win. And, all the stuff they had tried to do to us didn't work. Let's hope in this timeline that I was shown this morning. And when I have to get up obviously and do my farming stuff, so I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." So I get up, and as I'm getting up, then I hear the Kings and Queens from Ava Max, a song. Um, so yeah, okay, that was this morning's vision. It's a happy one, I will say that. Um, Is it? I don't know. Like I just completely, I mean, it's all speculation. We have enough speculation in the disclosure community right now. It's complete, as you know, bullshit. People are making shit, pulling stuff out of the air. I like it when they start to do something really complicated with it. Oh, here's a graph. Here's a graph. It's like you're just fucking pulling that out. That doesn't make it any more real if you make it into a graph or a scientific thing. It's just total shite. But the best thing I always tell people is just feel into what you're given personally. That's what 100%. What you're given personally is what you need to focus on, not what some other twat is throwing around as some bullshit. And maybe it isn't bullshit, but I mean, their bullshit is their, your bullshit, your bullshit, their bullshit's their bullshit. That's the way I look at it. Focus on your stuff. Um, so that's what I got this morning, and I'm sharing these things so folks who are getting visions, how do you work with the things that you're given. So I'm not sleeping when these visions happen. I'm always very skeptical of stuff unless it's a really lucid type thing. Dreams, what are dreams? What aren't dreams? I don't know. So with this thing here, um, yeah, I woke up to what would be familiar to me, but then I started realizing. So then that's when you want to start to focus in on it, right? So develop times of day when you're able to do this. For me, it's waking up in the morning. That's when I get all of these visions and things. Some people may get it when they're going to bed. You may also get them in the middle of the night where you wake up to them and start to remember them. Um, and once you get into a pattern, then you start to be able to use the information a little bit better. So that's what I got, as I said, this morning concerning what looks to be the future where I am brought home and what that appears to be. So there seems to be a major amnesia effect from when you transfer from your body that you're in now, your avatar, your fake Terran body, into when you go back into your real body. I think it's wise for folks to start to feel into their real body, what they look like, what you look like, what it feels like to be in your real body. So these are memories. Your consciousness remembers its real body, and that can be really healing. Some of the most profound shamanic death experiences that I've had involve me fully entering into my real body. And she looks something like this, obviously. I have a little narrower face, and my nose is a little bit more angular, but this is pretty similar to what I look like, and I've actually bilocated to a ship consciously. I was bilocated, and you don't know when, so you can't time these things because when is a variable. When is a complete variable. You may have people who are in secret space program tell you, well, I was here, I was there, and that's true, but when? And that because when you're in the secret space program, the mission may not be parallel to the now that you think. You can be operating in the future and operating in the past. So this needs to be understood by people who are retelling situations from secret space program operations. You don't know when that operation happened. So information is true and verifiable, but not necessarily one in which you can narrow down time or phased in reality. So all these things, I mean, you can have intergalactic conflict happening in a phased in reality, which is, there's all kinds of shit going down. But yeah, see your body, your real body, not the one you're borrowed, the real one, and feel into what that feels like. So go home with that body. Be in your real home, back where you belong, right back where we belong, in our home planets or on a home ship, whatever comes up for you. And really, truly experience that. And it's quite healing. And it gets like a little vacation. And it can sever, for me, it was able to sever a lot of the problems and memories of Earth life that were kind of locked into this avatar body, the one I'm borrowing. So that's a good thing to do is to do just get rid of it. You don't need it anymore. Don't live in the past. Oh, you were fucked over a million times in the past. Yeah, get rid of it. You don't need it. It's not doing you any good now. What benefit, right? So I was really happy to feel into memory while I was, in this vision where I'm in my body and back home, where none of the memories of this Earth experience, like I knew I did it. I mean, it wasn't that that was gone, but all of the baggage was gone. And I just get the sensation that it stayed, so it was in that old body. So that's kind of a good thing for um and one of the questions I brought up was with the galactic courts that we're going to have to deal with to, prosecute, I may speak English here, prosecute individuals and groups and collectives that were part of the either status quo for the Earth's suffering or outright Sith, almost playing double agents, being in the Alliance and still being an asshole, and all of those other individuals that created all kinds of philosophical excuses for the impediment of Earth's progress and the open disregard and apathy towards the afflictions placed upon the Terran and also what kind of violence they were experiencing. So people who are apologists for violence, that all is going to have to be addressed. So you hear a lot of complete nonsense about the natural uh, evolution of species. No, there's nothing, and that's correct. You need to allow species to evolve. The Terran is not evolving; it was regressed. It was violently colonized. So you do not and never had a natural progression. So anyone who brings that up is a bullshit artist right there. Because what's happening on this planet is not a natural progression of a race. What was happening on this planet and what did happen on this planet was a violent colonization with the intent to destroy and regress a race. So they took the Terran as a race and turned them into abominations. That is nothing to do with progress. So anyone who, like I said, I can't repeat this enough. Anyone who tells you that the Terrans are somehow ascending, finding out who they are, experiencing a lesson, all that bullshit, that's Anunnaki actually. That is all baloney. These are the lies, and the Alliance has been trying to beat this over the head of many other. I mean, there's so many, hundreds of thousands of races and beings, beating this over the head of clueless groups that don't get what the hell's going on down here. Because this is bullshit and it's so dangerous. But yeah, Terrans don't need to ascend. I don't know what's gonna happen because they're genetically fucked up and like this is way outside. Like I said, it's always outside of my hold my beer mission here. I don't know what to do with these things. So that because and I told them I don't want anything to do with that anyway. So it looks like I'm out. And many others quit too. So something massive has to be done here. But I personally don't have anything left in me to do it. So, and I agree there's going to be a lot of that's not every one of the envoys. Some envoys, are going to still have some gas left and they're going to stay and fix stuff and be part of that. But a lot of us are going to be like, I got nothing. I am on an empty tank. I can't handle this. I'm not going to be an asset to your mission at this point. And that's the thing to say, right? Admit that. Admit, you have to admit that. You have to let them know, like, I have nothing left. I have no gas left. I am done. Please. And I don't mean that as you don't want to, not approaching it as a pity party or a weakness saying you just don't have anything, you don't have anything left. You don't have anything left. And realistically, at this point, I am no longer an asset to the mission. And you may want to say that yourself. Like, look, I have nothing left. I am no longer an asset to your mission. I can't do this. Um, not because of a weakness or pitying. It's just like I have nothing left, right? So, yeah. Anyway, hopefully this vision was one that will be showing a future for us who have nothing left and need to get the hell out of here just to recover. So I don't know how long. I feel like this from what my body felt like standing back in my house, it's going to take a while for me to recover from this experience and the consciousness transfer. So I'm everybody's different, right? So it is what it is, and I don't see you are not, like I said, for those of us on this ship, we are not in the mental or physical position to be in some kind of party atmosphere. We this is the idea that you're gonna just pop into that other body and celebrate. I am not definitely not feeling that at all. Now, will that be the case for some folks? Probably. I don't like everybody's different, but for those of you who are gonna be joining me on this hell ship taking us home, because our bodies are in different places, and I think that's what was happening. Is that because I know Eeka was part of the crew, and he was doing some flight as well as other mission paperwork and blah blah. I know what happens when you're doing missions and things like that. He was very busy at that time. He felt very relieved. He felt he was tired too, and he it was hard. I mean, this is mentally strenuous. Except for Camiel, he seemed to be fine. He's like the only one that's like, oh, this is great. Um, but for those of us who've been through this, it was really challenge. I felt that Eeka was, this is the last leg of what he had to do with the decades that he spent here alongside me in this mess. And it's just really, he was tired for sure. And we were looking forward to, actually, we are so tired we weren't even looking forward to anything, to be honest. It was just like, when you're done, you're done. So, but anyway, that was this morning's vision. I'm going to end it with something sweet, as opposed to something exhausting. Like so. The other morning, it was cute. I woke up to, so Eeka has those little kids, the little hybrid kids. So hybrid, we use the word hybrid, but actually, if you've taken a hell and made it with a Terran, that's not a hybrid. It's human to human. So you're not creating a hybrid. You're just creating a human, right? It's like if you take someone who's German and they have a baby with someone who's Japanese. You're not creating a hybrid, right? You're just creating a human. But what happened here with these little kids that he has, those are hybrids because they're part gray and part a hell. So the little boy, the youngest of little boys, the oldest, who's a teenager, is with my brother, and he's going to be a commercial pilot. But the other ones are still too little, and they're in their home. So the little boy, I see the little boy, and he's just this big, huge, massive smile on his face, as happy as a clam, and he's running, and he's just exploding with this innocent love that children have, and he runs up to Eeka. So so Eeka goes back in the astral, and this experience that the little boy is having is in the astral. And it was just the cutest thing. And he's hugging him, and he loves when his daddy comes back. And they don't understand father, but they understand love. And that's all that matters. So they are now we're at a point in the relationship between him and his kids, where they just really love him, and they can't wait to spend time with him. And he spends a lot of time with them in the astral. So that's nice. And I mean, we don't have especially for these little kids, because they're part gray and they don't have any issue whatsoever they're happy with him in the astral. They don't say, oh, I wish he was here in the physical. There's no difference to them. So that's all nice. And it's such an innocence. And I know that, Eeka presents this vibration of safety, which is just like that's the one thing that I miss from home and that I never had here, is this sense of deep, deep safety where your body can rest. And it's something like you just don't ever have that here. You never have that sensation of true deep rest and safety. And his body is that. And it's just a place where you can just finally like power down. And that's what reminds me, you're like a computer that's never gets to turn, gets to shut off or sleep. It's always on like standby. So having your body on standby for decades is like just so exhausting. Um, but anyway, that was cute. It was just seeing that innocence of a child's love. That's a beautiful thing. So and it's sad that here children and the love that they have instinctually is, destroyed by the social programming and brainwashing. Not only that and you don't blame parents for this because they don't know any better either, but this kind of love, this real love, this innocent love, it's sad that most kids are driven to non-humans, right? The only place you can find this non-judgmental love is in your pets or in wild, whatever you like, plants or something like that. That animals offer us this sheer, innocent, forgiving, deep sense of safety and love that oftentimes our parents don't understand or know how to give either. So that's the abomination, part of the abomination that actually is in full swing here on this planet. And it was done on purpose, is to destroy, pervert beauty, innocence, and love. And we're here to try to bring that back. I don't know if it's possible, but well, we're here anyway to do what we can in that part of the mission. So, as always, we will see you upstairs.